You know, for over a century, some of the greatest financial minds have been leaving behind clues, creating this incredible blueprint for building wealth. It's the same blueprint that's created billionaires and built empires. Today, we're going to decode that blueprint.
So, what if I told you that a proven plan for financial success already exists? And no, this isn't some get-rich-quick nonsense. It's a set of timeless, rock-solid principles passed down from generations of financial giants. Ready to see what they are? Now, the rules we're about to cover, they're pulled directly from some of the most legendary books ever written on finance. These aren't just neat ideas, they are the absolute core beliefs that have shaped how the wealthy think about money for decades. We're going to break this all down like we're building a house, right? An architectural plan in 4 parts. We'll start with the foundation, which is your mindset. Then we'll build the walls with your daily habits. After that, we design the strategy for your investments. And finally, we add the ultimate amplifier, time.
Okay, first up, part 1, the foundation. Because before you make a single financial move, before you even think about stocks or real estate, we have to start with the most powerful asset you've got, your mindset.
This is a huge one, straight out of Think and Grow Rich. The big idea from Napoleon Hill was that wealth isn't really about numbers on a spreadsheet. It starts with an unshakable belief, a crystal clear purpose. I mean, you have to know exactly where you're going before you can even take that first step. That's why your mindset is the absolute bedrock of this entire blueprint.
And I love this slide because it just nails the difference between being smart and being wise with money. You can literally be a genius, know all the right things to do, but if you panic and sell when the market drops or you get greedy during a bubble, you're going to lose. Financial success is so much less about what you know and so much more about how you behave.
And this quote right here, this gets to the heart of the real goal. We're not just chasing money to buy more stuff. No way. The real price here is freedom. It's the ability to wake up in the morning and say, I get to decide what I do with my day. Now that is true wealth. All right, let's move on to part 2, the habits. Because with that solid mindset in place, we now need those non-negotiable daily actions that turn what you believe into something real.
And you know what? It all really boils down to just one rule. The single most important, most fundamental, make-or-break rule in all of personal finance.
There it is. Rule number 1. I know, it sounds so simple it's almost boring, right? But this is the engine of wealth creation. Every single financial system, every budget, every investment plan, it's all built on this one simple truth. If you don't do this, building wealth is literally impossible.
And to make that happen, 2 other habits are absolutely crucial. First, you have to avoid consumer debt, like the plague. It's the total opposite of our main rule. You're spending money you haven't even made yet. And second, you gotta focus on consistency. Look, building wealth isn't about one big, heroic moment. It's about those small, almost boring, regular actions that, when you repeat them over decades, build absolute fortunes.
Okay, on to part 3, the strategy. So once you're actually saving some money, the next step is to put that money to work. This is where you go from just saving to actively building your wealth. You gotta love how Robert Kiyosaki just cuts through all the noise here. He basically said, you only need to know one thing, the difference between an asset and a liability. It's so simple. An asset puts money in your pocket, a liability takes money out. The rich, they just spend their lives buying assets. That's the game.
So, what kind of assets are we talking about here? Well, the classics, right? Things like stocks, real estate, maybe your own business, even things like intellectual property. The key word here is productive. These are things that make money for you, even when you're sleeping.
And this right here, this is a massive mental shift. You could earn $1 million a year and still be broke if you spend it all. Real wealth isn't about how big your paycheck is, it's about how much you own. You have to start thinking less like an employee and more like an owner. Now, when it comes to the how of investing, legends like Benjamin Graham and Warren Buffett basically gave us the playbook. First, buy with a margin of safety, which is just a fancy way of saying get a good deal. Second, only invest in stuff you actually understand. Third, always protect your downside first. And finally, you have to learn to ignore the daily noise, the scary headlines, and just focus on your long-term plan. And now for the real magic, part 4, the amplifier. This is the one ingredient that takes all your hard work, your mindset, your habits, your strategy, and multiplies it exponentially.
This chart shows the absolute magic of compounding. I think it was Einstein who called it the 8th wonder of the world. A little bit of money, when you just leave it alone, it starts to grow on itself. At first, it's pretty slow. You barely notice it. But then, the growth becomes explosive. I mean, just look at that jump between year 10 and year 30. That's the force that built Warren Buffett's entire fortune.
And that's why this next rule is just so powerful. Forget trying to be a genius who can predict every up and down in the market. It's a loser's game. The real winners, they're the ones who just stay invested for the long haul, letting time and that compounding magic do all the heavy lifting for them. Patience is a financial superpower. And this timeline, wow, this shows the single biggest advantage anyone can have in this game. An investor who starts with just a little bit of money at age 20 can easily end up with way more money than someone who starts with double that amount at age 40. The reason is just one word: time. When you start is one of the most critical financial decisions you will ever make.
Okay, so let's bring this all home. These principles we've talked about, they aren't just a random collection of good ideas. They are a complete, step-by-step blueprint for building your own financial future.
The plan is so clear, right? First, you build that mental foundation. Then, you lock in those daily habits. Next, you execute a smart strategy to grow your investments. And finally, you let the incredible amplifier of time go to work for you.
See, at the end of the day, wealth isn't an accident. It's not about luck or hitting the lottery. It is the direct result of discipline, patience, and making smart decisions over and over again for a long, long time. It is built by design. These principles haven't changed in 100 years, and guess what? They're not going to change in the next 100. The blueprint is timeless. It's right here in your hands. The only question left is, when will you start building?